saying that not Kendrick Lamar, but UMG itself is actually responsible and culpable for the damages to his reputation, and they actively took part in the destruction of his reputation.
I know how it works, so I don't even want to, gravitate towards it. I want to go out there and I want to see, is you sitting in the crowd looking at me with the mummy face?
Then I can actually go directly to you.
Right. Yeah. Or is you enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Imagine building your entire empire on being number one, only to watch it crumble. One album is falling, the other is rising, and the gap between Drake and Kendrick Lamar has never been wider. This is the story of a hip-hop power shift. Drake, for so long, positioned himself as the king of numbers, the artist whose every release shattered records. So, when Dollar 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 for You hit the charts, it followed the script.
Or I would genuinely just freestyle with the auto-tune, so I think people started being like, oh, what's gonna be said tonight?
A debut at number one, his 14th. But that initial victory masked a rapid, almost unbelievable decline. Within weeks, the album wasn't just slipping, it was vanishing. We're talking sales figures that barely cracked 1,000 in a week, a stark contrast to the streaming era's usual giants. This wasn't a slow burn, it was a nosedive, and it exposed a vulnerability that Drake had worked so hard to conceal. But the real shocker? Drake didn't just lose to some hot new release. He was outpaced by Kendrick Lamar's GNX, a record that had been out for months.
Yeah, it's a shame if you don't notice the shift in energy around you. I mean, you can't be oblivious to what's going on around you.
Think about that. A 15-week-old album overshadowing a brand new, highly anticipated release. It's almost unheard of in today's music landscape, where new releases typically dominate. GNX wasn't just clinging to the charts, it was surging, its impact growing stronger with each passing week. While Drake's album was fading into obscurity, Kendrick's was solidifying its place as a modern classic. This wasn't just a chart battle, it was a symbolic victory, a clear indication of a shifting tide in hip-hop.
We were watching it on the iPad, the pre-telecast, and it kept cutting out. And then it just cut right back on for the moment where they're like, best rap album goes, and they said Take Care, and I almost was like, oh, it almost didn't even sound like my album.
Now, Drake's reaction to this seismic shift wasn't one of quiet reflection. Instead, he took to social media, a digital battleground, to try and rewrite the narrative. We saw a flurry of posts, attempts to discredit Kendrick and his fans. He shared videos, trying to mock Kendrick's complex lyrics, showing a dancer with a dictionary, implying that those who appreciated Kendrick's work were somehow pretentious. He even tried to downplay Kendrick's ad-libs, attempting to paint them as simplistic.
Well, yeah, for the OGs, for Kano, for Ashley, for Scorch, all those guys, it's to see them be able to continue this is an incredible feeling for me.
It was a desperate attempt to deflect attention from his own album's failings, a series of thinly veiled jabs aimed at undermining Kendrick's undeniable success. But these weren't the calculated moves of a confident artist. They were the frantic actions of someone watching their carefully constructed image crumble. And then, the narrative shifted. Drake's camp began whispering about the album being suppressed, claiming it lacked the necessary support. But let's dissect that. Was it really a lack of support, or a carefully constructed escape route? Drake strategically categorized Dollar 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 for You as an R&B album, a clear attempt to sidestep the intense scrutiny of the rap genre. He partnered with a less prominent artist, effectively creating a buffer, someone to share the blame if things went awry. This wasn't a spontaneous collaboration, it was a calculated move, a safety net woven into the album's very fabric.
Well, I think less than the dollar value, it's just more about the idea of growth and business mindset.
The narrative of suppression felt less like a genuine grievance and more like a preemptive defense, a way to explain away the album's underwhelming performance before anyone else could. It's as if Drake anticipated this outcome, laying the groundwork for a graceful exit. Look at the evidence. No music videos, a vanishing act from the public eye. Drake, the king of promotion, suddenly silent. It's a stark contrast to his usual playbook. Where was the elaborate rollout, the carefully curated social media blitz? The absence of these hallmarks spoke volumes. It was as if Drake was trying to make the album disappear, to erase it from his discography. This wasn't just a quiet release. It was a retreat, a strategic withdrawal. The message was clear. Dollar 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 for You was not to be a defining moment in his career. The numbers that once fueled his ego were now a stark reminder of his decline, and rather than face them head on,
She's a top shelf lady, top shelf kind of gal, man.
Wait, so she knows all the two letter words?
Oh yeah, no, like
yeah.
triple word score.
Do you know
clean.
za is a word?
I know now, obviously.
Z-A, yeah.
You guys gotta get a
Z-A.
game.
he opted for an almost complete disengagement. He was no longer playing the game he had mastered, but rather attempting to abandon the board entirely. This isn't just about album sales or a fleeting chart position. It's about a fundamental shift in the landscape of hip-hop. Kendrick Lamar has redefined what success looks like in the streaming era. It's not about manufactured hype or fleeting trends. It's about genuine artistry, about creating a body of work that resonates long after its release. GNX stands as a testament to this, a project that continues to captivate and inspire. Drake's failure underscores this change. The era of manufactured hype and chart-topping gimmicks is showing cracks. The era of real artistry, of substance over spectacle, is gaining momentum.
Well, I think it was also because I made that a part of the show that was unpredictable. So at the time, I was legit, getting. Sometimes I would, do the first few bars and then switch it.
This is a wake-up call, a clear indication that the rules of the game have changed. It is no longer enough to just have a catchy song or a large following. The music has to have substance, and the artist must be willing to engage with the culture in a meaningful way. The audience is demanding more than just a surface-level experience. They are demanding authenticity. So, what does this mean for Drake? For hip-hop? Is this the end of an era, or just a temporary setback? Drake's carefully constructed image, built on a foundation of chart dominance and cultural ubiquity, has been shaken. The cracks are visible. He's facing a reality he's never encountered before, a sustained period of being second best, of having his work overshadowed by an artist he's publicly clashed with.
I just kind of woke up one day like, yo, this is my time. This is my this is my thing. I run this, nobody can really talk to me. I'm good at what I do.
This isn't just a career slump. It's a potential identity crisis. The question now is, can he adapt? Can he reinvent himself in a landscape where authenticity and artistic depth are increasingly valued? Or will this be the moment his carefully curated persona begins to unravel, revealing a vulnerability he's spent years trying to conceal? And what does Kendrick's continued domination mean for the future of music? Will more artists begin to focus on creating real art instead of chasing trends? Will the streaming era continue to reward artists who create a cohesive body of work over those who simply chase fleeting moments of viral success? The answer to these questions will not only shape the future of Drake's career, but also the direction of hip-hop.